Metropolis, the 1927 film that is iconic, that really kind of gave birth to modern science fiction in some ways, and a lot of depictions that we recognise all are derived from this. But finding a good copy of this film is difficult. I bought it on DVD and it wasn't very good. I've seen different YouTube versions, and there was a discovery in 2008 of a bunch of scenes they thought had been lost. So anything before that would have been the shorter version. And the newer versions, there's a really brilliant, beautiful restoration of one of them, which is also colorized, although the colorization is like done by computer. It's a bit off. Like there's a scene where there are some women all in these interesting outfits, and some of them have bare backs, but the color actually makes their backs the same color as their garments, so it almost looks like they've got like a piece of taffeta or something that you can see through, but you realize, no, that's actually just a naked back and it's just been colored wrong. So it's not 100%, it's not all by hand, but it's really good, especially with the detail and the sharpness, and it's not like fake sharp. They've done a really good job of restoring that. But I would have rather seen a restored black and white and colour. I don't seem to be able to find a good restored black and white one. The black and white ones are a bit rough. They're fairly good, but they're a bit rough. And the stored footage is a bit off as well. The aspect is a bit off because they were copied in 16 millimeters, and they leave the black on the edges for this shot. And like, why don't you just crop it? And yes, there'll be shots that aren't framed as they should have been, but that's going to be less distracting than the black lines on the edge. So there's that. And then there's the issue of the music. There appears to have been an original piece of music that goes with the film, and it starts just after the title. But some people start because I've looked at a lot of different versions of this now. Some people start the music from the beginning. Some people have other music that runs over the title, and then the actual music for the film actually starts when the action starts after the title, and there's this really fast sort of action of all these gears and things moving, and that's when that music should start. Other people, they seem to have the title music, which seemed to have been created for some title cards explaining the restoration, that they actually push it further along, and that music doesn't start until the sort of second scene where you see the shift is changing, and that's when all the fast music starts, and then that doesn't sync up with the rest of the film. So it's a bit of a mess. And there's another colorized version. It's not as good. It's really blurry, and the color's just really odd, and it doesn't have the sharpness of the other print and the other restoration. And like I said, there are black and white ones that have some like the main restoration one that looks the best has a modern soundtrack which someone did, and it doesn't really fit. Then other ones have classical music, or they have the proper soundtrack but it starts at the wrong point. So finding a good print that starts the music starting just after the original title and being consistent is a bit of a nightmare. So what I'm gonna do, I think, is watch the really good color restoration, even though it is color, and the color isn't 100%. Like I said, it wasn't done by hand, it's done by computer, and it just makes a bunch of assumptions of where color should be or what color should be where. It doesn't quite work. I think I'm going to watch that while listening to the soundtrack on my laptop of one of the other films, one of the black and white ones, and just make sure the music starts around the same point, because there's no dialogue to sync. That shouldn't be too hard. So yeah, so there's different versions with different original audios, and then there's the original audio that seems to be out of sync or mixed up, and then there seems to be at least one or two copies of it with the sound right and the colour and everything. So it'd just be nice if there was one definitive version, or maybe two, like the restored black and white with the original music, and maybe the restored coloured one with new music, but I wouldn't mind it with the original music as well. It could be done either way, but it's a bit of a mess. I just want to talk about that for a minute because I've spent the last couple of hours trying to find a version to watch, and now I don't have time to watch it because I really just wanted to get through my science fiction films, and I wanted to start from Metropolis and M and, you know, Things to Come and all that, and then go into the 40s and 50s. I've watched a couple of the monster movie science fiction ones, like The Blob and Came from Mars, or Invaders from Mars, or whatever, and that was fun, but I want to go back and watch the more traditional science fiction movies from the beginning. But now it's like, do I go black and white colour? Do I do the black and white ones and then do the colour ones? Or do I just do the colour ones that are better production? Because a lot of the black and white ones aren't that interesting. But then there's ones like Earth versus the Flying Saucers. and The Day the Earth Stood Still. So it's like, do I just watch the classic ones, or do I watch the black and white ones and the colour ones, or do I watch the classic black and white ones? It's a mess. I'm just trying to work this out and do a little sci-fi marathon and get all these films. A lot of them I watched back in the day and can't remember, or I've never seen, and finally watch them in some sort of order. Because I have this anxiety that I'm never going to get all the films in my DVD, film library and TV series watched before I die. It's like I really need to start doing this now, because I'm going to be watching this stuff for years, and I'm quite happy to get through them all and then watch them all again and watch the ones that were worth seeing again and work out what my favourites are, and then that'll be like, because I seem to be saving up all these titles for like retirement or something, and it's like, you know what, you might want to start thinking about watching this stuff now, because you're not really promised 10, 20 years, so maybe just get this out of the way now.